From the twists and turns at Watkins Glen to the mudslinging action at Knoxville Raceway, we have you covered here in the next hour on the New Mexico Motorsports Report. I'm Spencer Hill. To my left, David Swope. Dave, a lot of big stories happened this weekend, but what was the biggest?
Well, unfortunately, I think the biggest is Brian France and his DWI and having to step aside. Yeah, there's a wonderful picture of Mr. France, but we are going to push this to the side after we get through this, and we're going to talk about the big story, Chase Elliott. What a fantastic race. Of course, the announcement of Bill Elliott is going to return to racing on the road course at my favorite track, and that's Road America. But let's talk a little bit about Bill France. You know, it's one of those things that it's like, I understand that, you know, people are humans and people make mistakes, and we should consider mistakes. But let's take a look at this guy is the head of, you know, clearly one of the top sports, tops organization, and I am a big believer in it all starts at the top. And I think he needs to be held accountable. I mean, you know, we'll put him through a program. Of course, you know, I mean, we'll be there to support him. But, you know, you got to look at attendance has been down. Other things have been down. And so you got to wonder, is that leading the stress that pushed him over the edge to this? Which came first? But I think that they moved swiftly, made the changes quickly. But what a black eye on a day that we should have been talking about probably one of the single greatest races that we've seen this season. And what a huge story for young Chase Elliott to get that done, and I mean to battle, you know, Martin Truex and of course Kyle Busch driving through the field. What I mean, that guy's got to win an award for the Ironman this weekend. But as a young person, I mean, you know, you've seen a lot of, you know, your idols, a lot of this, you know, stars, business executives that you know are kind of torn down from these personal decisions. As a young person, how does that affect you?
Well, to me, it's just disappointing, Dave. I mean, this is someone that we look up to, and obviously it's somebody that's supporting NASCAR as a whole. He's representing our drivers, our teams, and ultimately our fans. And to see something like that happen, it's not only heartbreaking, but it's just bad for the sport. And I think first, we need to dive in a little bit deeper and figure out exactly what happened here. Of course, Brian France arrested on charges of aggravating driving while intoxicated and criminal possession of a controlled substance at Sag Harbor Village in New York. This is our CEO of NASCAR, and this is the quote that he gave to everybody. He said, quote, "I apologize to our fans, our industry, and my family for the impact of my actions last night. Effective immediately, I will be taking an indefinite leave of absence from my position to focus on my personal affairs." That's a big quote coming from somebody that is the CEO of NASCAR, and it's going to affect everybody. Of course, Jim France is going to move into that position effective immediately, and I think that's going to bring some changes that are probably needed for the sport.
Well, absolutely, and I think that we have to take a look at situations and, you know, other things that this is going to impact. How are sponsors going to feel about this? I mean, without sponsors, we all know. I mean, you know, as a race team, we all know without sponsors. Like, you know, I say something on this show, you know, we lose our sponsors. Albuquerque Dragway, you know, Yearwood Performance, Napa, you know, the people that count on us to put a good product out, to put, you know, I mean, the sponsors alone. Think about how, you know, Mars. I had the pleasure of interviewing Joe Gibbs for the radio show last week, and he talked about the importance of sponsors. I can just imagine how that guy feels right now, because, you know, he finally put something together with Craftsman, you know, one of the iconic, you know, companies in this country, and how, you know, their first involvement with NASCAR is their CEO. And DWI. Now, granted, this guy also has enough money that an Uber is nothing. I mean, I Ubered, you know, from a reception from a wedding the other day. You know, it cost me like $3, you know, to get back to the hotel room. I mean, didn't this guy take an Uber? Or better yet, just whistle for somebody with a town car to show up, right? I mean, to me, that's absolutely amazing. But you mentioned some of the other changes that we might be able to see coming forward out of this. What some of those might be?
Well, I think that people have been acting on this for a while now. People have been wanting some change in NASCAR. We've seen little glimpses of it here and there. Of course, 2020 supposedly going to be a big year for NASCAR as we move forward. But I think this is going to excel what we're wanting to see in the sport and maybe prompt those changes to happen more quickly. I think that we're going to be able to see immediately maybe some sponsorship value changes. And honestly, unfortunately, I think we're going to be seeing NASCAR being sold here in the very near future. And that's only because at this rate, I think it's just losing value as we speak.
Wow. So, of course, Formula One got sold to Liberty Media. I mean, are we seeing more of like a media company that's going to step in, somebody that can take it basically into the modern era, maybe shorten some of the races, rebrand it, remarket it? I mean, because of course there's been the battle of the young guns this year, and of course with Chase Elliott getting it done and seeing Eric Jones and have some success, and of course you've got the big three that had been pretty much wiping everything else up. Joey Logano, I mean, just to throw something out in that race, I mean, basically wrecks out in the first lap. So now Pennzoil doesn't get their car seen going around and round and round because of the mistake and in sending it to the garage instead of at least trying to do it on pit road. But that'd be pretty tremendous to see what kind of company would step up. The timing, of course, with Monster Energy only having one more year on their deal, might be interesting to see what kind of company is going to step up for that.
Yeah, this just screams that 2020 is going to be a big year for NASCAR. Everything's going to happen very fast. I think we're going to see, number one, schedule changes on the roster. That's going to be the first and foremost thing for everybody. We want to bring that demographic over to the West Coast. There's not enough West Coast races right now as we speak. I think that Seattle is a great market for it. Obviously, California has 2 tracks, but it's also a very big state. Las Vegas, that works pretty well, but there's nothing up north from there.
Right.
So that's where I'm going to see changes first and foremost. And then I think we move into how sponsorship is sold throughout the garage. I think we're going to see changes in that as far as it moving more into a digital phase rather than just a physical phase as it is right now. So that's 2 things that I would expect to happen here in the very near future.
Well, and I of course, there was also conversations about road courses, because of course this was a tremendous race, and so I'm looking forward to the Roval, because there's been a lot more talk about what the schedule would look like. Should we have more short tracks? Has the end of the mile-and-a-half track happened yet? And so, I mean, I think that we could look at schedule. You think about, schedules always being, races being on particular days, the Southern 500, everything to where you could build on a regular basis. But things are changing. The landscape is changing so fast that I think we can't base it on that. And financially, whether the tracks continue to afford it. I mean, because they're taking seats out. So there's got to be a change, probably the charter system. Are we going to be able to? Did that make sense? Did that help stabilize the cost? Because I mean, they're just going to spend whatever it takes to win. I mean, that's why we compete in sports, right? Is to get that edge. So short of it just being a pill draw to where all the cars are like a spec racing, and then I don't see that working, but. It's going to be exciting to see the changes. It's just a shame that it had to be done in that type of manner, to see some changes.
Yeah, and as you were saying, very dark shade over what was a great weekend for the sport. Of course, Joey Logano getting it done in a rain race at Watkins Glen, something that years ago we wouldn't have even thought about, happened finally this weekend. Of course, all the drivers had a lot of fun doing that. And the big race Sunday, Chase Elliott in dominating fashion, holding off one of the best road course racers in the world right now, in my opinion, and that's Martin Truex Jr., of course, by 7.5 seconds at the end. Truex running out of fuel on the last lap. His father, Bill Elliott, was there in attendance, spotting for him. So special for those two.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, that's where you can really see the father-son relationship, which we've talked about many times, positive and negative. I mean, getting kicked in the butt by my dad on several occasions because wasn't going fast enough or put it on the trailer in one piece. The whole host of questions. I will have to say that one of the coolest things I thought I saw was when Chase runs out of gas, Jimmy Johnson backs up and pushes him around a winner's circle. Of course, 250 wins for Hendrick, but I thought that was a real class act. That was really cool.
That was so cool to see. Of course, Jimmy Johnson, one of the biggest names in the sport, arguably the best of all time over here in NASCAR right now, and to see him go back and kind of push the young gun to his first victory, that was just something very special for everybody.
Yeah, and I think that just shows how close the team was. I also think it was a sigh of relief for Chevrolet. Has Chevrolet gotten there? The Camaro sure looked a heck of a lot better. I don't know if we would have had a yellow come out. I don't know. I think Kyle Busch would have won another race because that guy. It seems like whenever he gets adversity, he just gets better and better and better. And it was pretty tremendous what he was able to do. Because I was just shocked. I was like, he's not going to come back. But then I got to wonder, what's the caliber of the rest of the drivers? They're just not road racers, or what was that about? Because Allmendinger had problems, right off the bat, and then he doored Jimmy Johnson. I mean, overall, I thought it was an extremely entertaining race.
Yeah, I think ultimately what you saw was a young driver driving his heart out for his first career victory, and that's exactly what we saw this weekend. He did a great job leading many laps, and it was an amazing race for everybody to see in attendance there. We're going to have to go to a commercial break, but we'll be right back with a very special guest here on the New Mexico Motorsports Report. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you in a few.
When I train for American Ninja Warrior, I schedule regular workouts to stay in shape. To keep my car in Ninja Tough shape, I head to a Napa Auto Care Center for regular maintenance and genuine Napa Auto parts, like brakes and batteries. I trust my Napa Auto Care Center for quality parts and quality service. And with the 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty, I drive away with peace of mind every time. Visit AutoCareNM.com to find a location near you.
The Barley Room, proud sponsor of ProView Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Duke City Sports Bar, proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. Catch all the sports action from high school, college, pros, and MMA on one of our 35 HD TVs. Start your night off right with any selection from our delicious menu prepared with fresh, never frozen ingredients. Duke City Sports Bar, Albuquerque's newest sports bar. Located on Eubank and Montgomery, dial 505-433-4020.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, backed by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Locally loved restaurants like Farina Pizzeria, Farina Alto, and the Artichoke Cafe are the perfect venue for your next event. Farina Alto has traditional Italian food, plus handcrafted cocktails in a beautiful Northeast Heights location. Farina Pizzeria with a downtown vibe, amazing affordable wines, and local beer. And the Artichoke Cafe has set the standard for casual fine dining since 1989. Visit our family of restaurants and see what fine dining is all about.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Welcome back to the New Mexico Motorsports Report here on ProView Network. Now I'm honored to bring in our guest for this week, Caleb Saez, driver of the Napa Filters number 42 sprint car in the New Mexico Motor Racing Association. Caleb, you're fresh off a pretty good run down in Sholo, Arizona a couple weeks ago. You want to start and tell us a little bit about how that went?
Oh, it went great. You know, it's always good to finish the race, obviously. You know, we had a good car. You know, Steve and Clyde, Steve Nix, Clyde Hill, David Burns, Russ Hine, they put together a good race car, and I can't complain about it, you know, and just trying to stay out of trouble.
Absolutely, and you did a good job at doing that. It was almost Calamity Corner, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But you've recently welcomed a few new sponsors to your team. Can you tell me a little bit about how much that means to you guys, having big companies like that support your program?
Yeah, we recently got Napa Filters, Napa Auto Parts. You know, it really means a lot to us. It makes it so much easier on us to go out and enjoy racing and to advertise for them. And it was kind of cool. They came on, I think it was halfway through the season, not too long ago, and it's awesome. It's awesome. I really appreciate it. You know, I know the team does, and we couldn't be happier for it.
And of course, they join Excess Energy and Halliburton's
Trucking Equipment. You know, without Halliburton's, this wouldn't be possible. You know, and David. You know, of course, David. He spends hours and hours and hours on trying to fund the team, and he does a really good job.
Absolutely. And sprint car racing right now, it's interesting because we're experiencing quite the youth movement, especially in New Mexico here with some young drivers.
Right.
A lot of people, though, they're kind of feeling like these drivers are getting moved up too quickly. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, I think it's good. You know, we need new talent, right? But also you got to be smart. You got to be smart on making those decisions. Experience, you know, how much experience they got. You know, to stay safe, you know, but I think it's good. I really don't have any problems with anybody that I'm racing with, but yeah, I think the parents, also the car owners, need to be kind of smart on who they're putting in the race car to stay safe.
And I think the New Mexico Motor Racing Association has tackled this issue too by implementing their rule of rookies starting in the rear.
Right.
Do you agree with that rule and maybe the length of your guys' rule specifically in an MMRA?
You know what, I do. I really do. Just because, you know, sprint cars they're such another animal, you know that, and it's tough to put somebody in a sprint car and expect them to do really well right out of the gate, you know. So I think it's very important that they get some experience, and what is it, halfway through the season, I think?
Yeah, give or take. Somewhere along 3 to 5 races, I think, somewhere around there.
Exactly. I think that's plenty of time.
And of course, they get board approval too.
Exactly.
So I think that's important as well to know that your fellow racers trust you on the track.
Exactly.
And I think that's a good rule.
I think it's a great rule, yeah.
You're really not that far off from being a rookie, though. Just 2016 was your rookie season. Already 6 wins in the sprint car. What's kind of been the secret to you adapting so quickly to these beasts?
You know what? I'm going to say Steve and Clyde. You know, those, you know, we spend hours in the shop talking and going over things, and then of course, you know, they've been doing it for so long that they give me a good consistent race car every time I go on the racetrack, which just makes my job so much easier, and I already know what it's going to do. I have confidence in the car, and that's such a huge thing when you go out there and race and you sell out into the corner. You know, I'm not worried at all what the race car is going to do, so they have a big part in that.
Yeah, confidence and comfortability is two big things in the sport of sprint car racing especially. And something that I think is very interesting with you is you're able to run wing and non-wing sprint cars, sometimes back-to-back weekends. Has that helped you overall?
I think so. I really do. Anytime you can get in the race car, it's good. It's good. It's good experience. they are different. They got their own style. You got to drive them a little bit differently, but shoot, doesn't matter, man. You know, just go out there and race.
So you kind of go by the rule that seat time, seat time.
Seat time is seat time, exactly.
I like it. Do you prefer one over the other? I know there's so many people that are in love with non-wing racing here. Yeah. Very few of them in love with wing racing, including myself. But I always like to ask the sprint car drivers that I'm around, what do you like?
You know, I like both. You know, I really do. I got to race the wing car on Saturday, and it's been a while since I've been in the wing car, and it was cool just to feel the car wing over and you know, just I mean they're fast through the corners. You know, they really are. But right now, I would say I like the non-wing car better, and I think the reason why is because we got the 360 in the car, and I just like the horsepower. You know, so
yeah, the horsepower is a hard thing to overcome. Like sailing a car into turn one, especially at a track like Sholo or Las Cruces, two tracks that are either have passed or are coming up for you here in the near future. It's something that's so hard to explain. I like to ask other drivers, how would you explain driving a sprint car to somebody that's never driven one before?
Oh, that's a good question. It's kind of like, it's almost like riding a bull, kind of, I'd say. You know, they're just so intense, and the thing of it is, what I would say is you always got to be on the throttle. You know, keep the car up on the suspension to get it to do what it wants, and it's hard to do. You got to get comfortable doing that, and the faster you go, I feel, the easier it is.
I think I agree with that too. That's something that was hard for me to learn, is just to keep it barred up, especially in the right rear. You have to keep the right rear pumped up. And it's something that's so hard to explain to people that have never driven a sprint car. They're something out of this world, but they are fun to drive, and I guess that's why we do it, right?
Yeah.
One thing that is also pretty interesting to me is a lot of people have said, oh, Caleb, where did he come from? But as you know, we've raced each other for many years. Right. You had a pretty successful micro sprint career as well. What took you so long to go from micro sprint, and then you kind of went away for a little bit, and then now come back into the sprint car with a vengeance?
Well, I went to New Mexico Military Institute for high school, and then I did a year at junior college out there, and that was the main thing, is that it was just really hard to find the time to make all the races, you know, and with other sports, baseball and stuff like that, it was hard to find the time. But, you know, my grandparents, you know, back when I was racing mini sprints, they were the ones funding that, and they're the ones who got me into racing. And they got kind of tired, you know. They get a little bit older, want to retire, you know, and so they wanted a break, and I was fine with that, you know. I really was, but yeah, that's where I was, and as soon as I got back from NIMI, I started searching for a ride right away.
Was that an easy decision to make, or a hard one to come back?
It was just like one of those days where I woke up in the morning, and I was like, I got to race, I got to try and find a ride, and I did, and the rest is history.
What was the process of trying to find a ride, especially here in New Mexico, where rides are pretty limited?
Right. It was just kind of by word of mouth, you know, just letting everybody know that I'm searching for a ride, and they kind of just came to me a little bit, you know. I think Truman West was helping me out a little bit. He was kind of telling people, and then finally he told me to contact David, and that's how it happened.
Awesome. And one thing that anybody that sees you notices is you have pretty big muscles, right? Physical fitness, obviously a big part of racing. What do you do in the gym to prepare for race weekends?
You know, I used to be a guy who used to lift a lot, you know, heavy. But now that I've been back in the race car, it's not always about that. It's more about conditioning, being conditioned. And, you know, I do a lot of cardio. That's really all I do is cardio, bike rides, runs, and stuff like that, push-ups, sit-ups. That's really all you need. You don't need to be real muscular, you know, to be driving these cars, but you need to have some endurance, you know.
You sure make it hard on fat guys like me getting around the track. It's hard to keep up with you, man. But you're leading the New Mexico Motor Racing Association points right now by 67 points over the number 0 of J.R. Bonesteel, but you're still searching for that first win of 2018 in the non-wing car at least. Are you happy with that consistency?
Yeah, I am. Of course, you know, when you're leading the points, at the end of the day, that's what we want to do, is win the championship. It is frustrating that I haven't been able to win some races in the non-wing car, but you know, I'll take it, you know, and I just got to continue to finish races.
but you were doing a good job last year with winning races. It's kind of like a flip-flop season almost for you. With this year, maybe the wins haven't come exactly to prevail, but the consistency, you know, the second, thirds, they're right there, and it's happening every weekend, and I think that's making a big difference as far as the points run goes for you. Do you think that's going to be the secret as we head into the last 5 races?
Oh yeah, you know, it's just going out there and finishing races and doing the best we can and not tearing up the race car and taking care of it. And of course, advertise it for Napa. You know, I mean, if the car's not on the track, people don't see it.
Absolutely. And one thing that I wanted to talk about with you, we had almost a big situation in Sholo a couple of weeks ago where cars just ended up spinning everywhere on the track. I know I was holding on for all I had. What were you thinking when cars all of a sudden just started coming down the track right in front of us?
You know, there's not a lot of time to think about it, but I think it was just, for me, just a lot of reactions, you know, just to get away from it. I ended up going into the infield and throwing up a bunch of dust and running over a tractor tire and all that other stuff. But, I mean, that happened right in front of us.
Yeah.
Right in front of me.
I know, I was looking at you almost in a T-bone position, and I don't know how I missed you. And then the number 0 of J.R. Bonesteel, because he came down the track right after you. It was a pretty close call, for sure.
Little bit of luck, that's for sure.
So where are people going to be able to see you race next?
We're going to be racing in Las Cruces, Southern New Mexico Speedway, this Saturday. And yeah, that's where I'll be next. And I'm not exactly sure after that, but that's our next race.
Okay, and of course Sound and Signal supporting that race down there. They've been a huge help, especially down south when the New Mexico Motor Racing Association goes down there. You've had the opportunity to have a lot of people help get you to where you are right now. Do you have some people that you'd like to give a special thanks to?
Yeah, of course. I want to thank my grandparents, my family for allowing me to do that, and of course my team, you know, David Burns, Clyde Hill, Steve Nix, you know, and Russ Hine, Mike Savelli now is helping out a little bit. You know, those guys, it really means a lot to me, and they enjoy it, and they've been doing it for so long, you know, and it means a lot. It really does. And they, like I said, they make my job in the race car so much easier by just giving me a good, consistent race car.
And it must be so cool to have the experience in your pit crew there. I mean, there's probably, how many championships do you think are between just your crew members?
There's at least 6. There's at least 6. I think it's either 6 or 8 or something like that, but at least 6. So they just got a whole lot. And then Steve's dad used to race. So, you know, it's a generation thing.
That's so cool. Well, if fans want to follow you and stay up to date with what you have going on, how can they do so?
You can follow me on Instagram at Caleb_Sice. You can look me up on Facebook. You can also follow or look up David Burns on Facebook or Steve Nix as well, and they post updates on how we're doing.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Caleb, so much for joining us today. It really is a pleasure to get to talk to you, and good luck this weekend in Las Cruces. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be there, but I'll catch you at the next one for sure. You're watching the New Mexico Motorsports Report here on ProView Network, and we'll be right back.
Locally loved restaurants like Farina Pizzeria, Farina Alto, and the Artichoke Cafe are the perfect venue for your next event. Farina Alto has traditional Italian food, plus handcrafted cocktails in a beautiful Northeast Heights location. Farina Pizzeria with a downtown vibe, amazing affordable wines, and local beer. And the Artichoke Cafe has set the standard for casual fine dining since 1989. Visit our family of restaurants and see what fine dining is all about.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all, or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, #life change will occur.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at ProView Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
For 55 years, people have bought trucks from Tillery in Los Lunas. We have a great selection of vehicles, the quality service department, and some of the best deals in the state. But most importantly, we found people prefer to buy trucks from people who actually drive trucks.
Tillery is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network. Locally owned and operated, located in Los Lunas, right off I-25, exit 203. Hey, New Mexico, come check out the newly remodeled guest rooms at the new Wyndham Albuquerque Hotel and Conference Center, featuring 309 rooms, 30,000 square feet of meeting space. New Mexico's only indoor water park featuring the Wave Runner. 2,200 square foot fitness center with hydro massage chairs. Also enjoy breakfast at our new Manzanita Grill and watch your favorite team play at Altitude Sports Bar and Grill. It's all at Wyndham Albuquerque Hotel and Conference Center. Hey everyone, Adam Deal here with ProView Networks. Extreme Clean is a proud sponsor and supporter of ProView Networks and all high school sports athletics. Owner Mike McLean and Extreme Clean specialize in carpet cleaning for apartment, realty, business, and residential clients. With over 20 years experience, attention to detail and quality customer service matters. For more information, give them a call, 505-221-6440, Extreme Clean. Terry Cosper Insurance Agency is a proud partner with ProView Networks and a proud supporter of New Mexico high school athletics. Terry's been a local farmer's agent for over 20 years for auto, home, life, and business insurance. Just like high school sports are important, so are teen drivers. For more information, call Terry or one of his licensed staff members at 898-5556. Quotes are available for you.
Welcome back to the New Mexico Motorsports Report here on ProView Network, and welcome back, Dave, to the hot seat.
Well, I tell you, there was a little bit of a man crush going in that last segment. I was like, because I was like, well, let me see the guns. Yeah, like, what is it? Hashtag fill the sleeve.
Yeah. Well, I think anybody that's seen Caleb Sayers out in public has noticed that he's pretty yacked. He kind of reminds me of like a Matt DiBenedetto type of guy.
Right. Well, and I mean, I think it's so true. Fitness is such a big deal. I mean, just look at Jimmy Johnson and all the different things that he does. I mean, fitness is extremely important. Stamina. I mean, the heat of being in the car. I mean, you can talk to it. Even me on just road racing in July. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh! I mean, of course, I'm nowhere near fit enough to be winning. But anyway, hey, what do you got going on this weekend, man?
This weekend I was scheduled to go down to Las Cruces to race the non-wing sprint car, but before I knew about my sprint car ride, I actually had already agreed to go out to Nashville, Tennessee with Randy Irwin, Jason Irwin's dad, and of course Jason's going to come, Matt Omick, Chris Vega, and we're going to go out and see the Kenny Chesney concert out there, the Grand Ole Opry, Jack Daniel's Distillery, a lot of neat things out there that we get to go see and experience for the first time.
That's fantastic. I've actually been to the Jack Daniel's Distillery. You'll enjoy that. And then, of course, they got some samples and stuff.
Oh, perfect. I love free samples.
Absolutely. Free is my favorite. Like, when you ask me, like, what's my favorite beer? Free.
Second one, cold.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so let's talk a little Unser Racing Museum event calendar. Got a lot of cool things coming up locally. Albuquerque Dragway. You got their first annual swap meet that's going to be going on tomorrow and on Sunday. So you want to make sure that if you got any stuff you want to take out there, I was thinking about maybe throwing one of the darts on the trailer and taking it out there and see if anybody wanted to buy it, take a look at it. But go to abqdragway.com. You can get the information on that. Of course, last weekend they had a great NHRA fan fun day out at the track there, and the Southwest Superchargers were there. Jana Skinner had the victory on that, had her on the radio show the week before. Ricky Daniels won the Outlaw 8.5, set a track record at 4.96. It's the first time that a car has run in the fours on the 8.5 tire.
Wow.
So smoking. Of course,
congratulations to him.
Yeah,
by the way. That's
so
cool.
I saw some pictures, and actually what's funny is I thought he was down in Cruces smoking people down there, so I didn't realize it was at our own track. But really cool. Of course, winners Mike Labatt won in the Super Pro. Guy Hatter won in the New Signs and Graphics Pro, McKinney Motors Super Pro, so I want to make sure I give you guys some love. Seductions Sportsman, Ken Lukish, I believe is the pronunciation. If not, don't beat me up on social media.
Wait, Seduction sponsors that?
Yeah, Seductions, right? So I don't know. I mean, I think I'd almost rather have the contingency prize than the win on that. But anyway, Torco Race Fuels, Junior Dragsters, Haley Tafoya was the winner there. They didn't update the points, so I can't give you the point totals on that. But that's what was going on out at Albuquerque Dragway. Of course, a lot of great things going out there. Like I said, go to abqdragway.com, get yourself a schedule. Of course, anytime you're talking about drag racing, you got to think about Yearwood Performance. Celebrating 50 years, that's 1968, so way before you. They've been selling parts out there, started in Cruces, been selling them out at Eubank, but they got 12 different grades of race fuel ready to go in 5-gallon cans. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Incredible. So congratulations, Jim and your staff, for continuing to provide, quality parts. So, of course, 341 Eubank, 9674 Eagle Ranch Road. So let's talk some dirt track out at Sandia Speedway. This weekend, the Clay Oval Racing with gates opening at 6:30, presented by Jackson Compaction. Can go out there. It'll be the third week that they've been back going on that. And of course, during the day, the Porsche Club of America, and it's actually open to anybody that wants to come out, going to be running an autocross from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Now, if you don't know what an autocross is, basically it's like going as fast as you can around some cones. Now, I will admit that I grew up thinking that was the most boring thing ever until you put the helmet on and you go out there, and it's a lot of fun. But if you ever wanted to kind of get a feel for road racing, it's a great place to start. So go check it out from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Motocross racing, Sandia Motocross at Moriarty, August 18th and 19th. So 18th is a practice, 19th the race, round 5 of the Moriarty Motocross Race Series, also known as the David Fisher Memorial. But that's what we got going on as far as racing is concerned. I really want to get some more schedules, and so if you're watching and you could email us, nmmotorsportsreport@gmail.com. Send us the schedules for the tracks. Whether you're up at Aztec or Grants down in Las Cruces. We'd love to put them up. We'd love to put them in the magazine and let people know what's going on. So like us on Facebook. Of course, Saturday morning, I was out of town. You guys took over.
Yeah, we
Brooklyn
did.
was in the hot seat. So tell us a little bit about how the radio show was last week.
Well, the radio show is always a fun time, of course. Brooklyn does a great job. RJ also out of town, so it was kind of just me and Brooklyn taking care of everything. But it was a fun time. We got to hang out, talk to John Haverlin, who was on location out there with NASCAR this weekend. He gave us some great insight, especially since it was right before the Xfinity race, and we were preparing for the first race on rain tires.
Right.
And that was something that was pretty interesting to me.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little Xfinity coming up, but John's been doing a really good job. As a matter of fact, he had a pretty strongly worded story on Brian France. Got over 6,000 shares, under the New Mexico Motorsports Report banner. So I guess the next time I show up to the track, I got to watch out. So he's going to take a swing. And Dana's like right on with that picture. He loves the mug shot. But hey, we want to give Dana Child some love. He puts up with us with this show all the time, getting all the graphics up. But let's talk some car shows. Of course, tonight, one that I don't even have on the list, but tonight you can go out, and the Off-Road League is out at Cars and Coffee out on golf course. You can go check that out. But your other regular car shows tomorrow, Saturday, the Jaguar Concours d'Elegance.
I'm glad you said that one, not me.
Concours d'Elegance. I think I got to do it with the pinky up. Oh, you missed that one because you have the calendar up. We'll come back to the pinky up on that one. But going on at the historic oh, see. Anyway, so going on with the at the historic Santa Fe Plaza, it's in New Mexico Jaguar Club and Jaguar Land Rover Albuquerque sponsored at 9 a.m. to noon. I've actually seen some of those shows. And Jaguars, I mean, the guys that love their Jaguars, I mean, they keep them for like ever. I mean, that's actually a really good show. It's open to the public, and they got a free People's Choice voting. Also on Saturday, the 24th annual Summer Car Show Series at Hooters East. I don't need to say anything more. I mean, if nothing else, just get some wings at Hooters, right?
Yeah. Wings, right?
Yeah, and
okay.
You know what's funny is, yeah, exactly, is you know how many women tell me that their favorite wings are at Hooters? I mean, I'm not kidding you.
I have a lot of girls my age too.
So I wasn't baiting you in on that one. All right. So also the Paloma Landing 10th anniversary car show is going on with a barbecue there. Open to pre-1970 vehicles and military vehicles. And that's pretty cool.
That is
it takes them forever to get out there. So like if it's like a 9 a.m. show, they leave like, you know, Rio Rancho at like 5 a.m.
Well, you got to have 2 pee breaks, a coffee stop, and then you get there.
You know, I tell you, one of the coolest the things I want to drive, but you know, on my bucket list is I want to drive a tank.
Where are you going to find a tank?
I don't know, but if you're out there and you have a tank, you know, driving a fire truck would also be pretty cool.
I feel like that's a little bit more realistic than a tank.
There are 2 historic fire trucks. I don't know, man. Somebody's gonna hit me up, and I'm gonna drive.
If you find anybody to let you drive a tank, Dave, I will give you $100. No questions asked.
$100? You blew $100 at the bar on Saturday night.
I can't afford Cheerios, dude.
That would be cool. I'll let you ride with me.
Perfect.
Okay, so now see, I didn't say, you know, a Blue Angel jet or anything. Come on, it's just a tank.
Just a tank.
Okay, all right. So if you want to check out any of the New Mexico Motorsports Report radio shows, check out our website nmmotorsportsreport.com. Of course, got a lot of great information. The new magazine actually went to print, so hopefully we'll have it up there, by Saturday. So tomorrow you can actually pull it and take a look. But the Unser Racing Museum, always a big supporter of the show, open 7 days a week, 10 to 4 at 1776 Montano.
We are the champs.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ricky Stenhouse Jr. there on that one.
There you go. So what's the reference on that one?
Oh, when Ricky Stenhouse Jr. won in Daytona last year on 4th of July, he came out of the car, and the first thing he said on TV was, 1776, we are the champs. So now it's just something that I like to say.
Okay, well, I'm going to watch it next time, when I say something like that. But, hey, just wanted to give a shout out on the national scene. NHRA last weekend, Anton Brown was the winner for Top Fuel. Steve Torrance is still your points leader over Tony Schumacher. But also, Ron Capps was victorious. He drives the Napa Funny Car. I tell you, the guy is such a class act. I've had him on my show before. He is amazing. Second in points, Courtney Force has got a 154-point lead. That's almost a full race weekend, maybe a race and a half weekend.
Yeah.
It's going to be kind of hard to catch her. She's your point leader with 16 of 24 events already in the books. They're going to be racing in Seattle, Washington. We're going to get into some of that on the other side with the national event calendar. Greg Anderson won, and of course he's your points leader, 42 points over Tanner Gray. Alexander Rossi, of course, won at their last race. Scott Dixon's your points leader. They're going to Mid-Ohio. Excuse me, that's where Xfinity's going, is Mid-Ohio. Where's IndyCar, going?
IndyCar is going to be going to Pocono Raceway Sunday, August 19th. That's obviously a beautiful track over there up in the Pocono Mountains. And going along to the rest of the national race calendar, Camping World Truck Series Saturday, August 11th. That's at Michigan International Speedway. Always a fun race there. Xfinity Series, Saturday, August 11th. They are going to be at Mid-Ohio for the Mid-Ohio Challenge. That's a beautiful track out there, a road course known for rain quite a bit. And the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series, that's going to be Sunday, August 12th also at Michigan International Speedway. All great racing going on this weekend, and I'm really looking forward to it.
You know, one thing I'd heard about, they were talking about, you know, potential road courses to add to NASCAR. I did not know there was a road course inside the Tricky Triangle, Pocono.
You know, I did not know that either.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to put a graphic up on that. IndyCar Pocono, August 29th. Formula One on a break right now till August 26th, so they take a month off. They'll go back to racing at Spa, NHRA, August 16th through the 19th. The Lucas Oil Nationals in Brainerd International Raceway. So we got a whole lot more coming up on the other side, actually. You want to take us out?
Yeah, I'll take us out. You're watching the New Mexico Motorsports Report here on the ProView Network, and we'll be right back.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
Locally loved restaurants like Farina Pizzeria, Farina Alto, and the Artichoke Cafe are the perfect venue for your next event. Farina Alto has traditional Italian food, plus handcrafted cocktails in a beautiful Northeast Heights location. Farina Pizzeria with a downtown vibe, amazing affordable wines, and local beer. And the Artichoke Cafe has set the standard for casual fine dining since 1989. Visit our family of restaurants and see what fine dining is all about.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Welcome back to the New Mexico Motorsports Report here on ProView Network. I'm Spencer Hill. A lot of fun racing coming up in the next week.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I was hoping you could give us some updates on the open wheel on the dirt.
Yeah, Knoxville Raceway, very historic track. They just had the 360 Knoxville Nationals, which Terry McCarl just brought home his 5th win in. Of course, Carson Macedo driving for Jason Johnson Racing. Jason Johnson unfortunately passing away after suffering injuries in an earlier incident this year. So Carson Macedo in that car won a preliminary night and went from 7th all the way to 2nd here just this last week. And of course, here's a picture of Terry McCarl celebrating victory lane. Brian Brown, he finished 3rd. 4th went to Joey Saldana from Brownsburg, Indiana. That's the Brownsburg Bullet. 5th was Thomas Kennedy from Canada. 6th was Greg Hodnett. 7th was the young driver from Fresno, California, Giovanni Scelzi. Corey Eliason ran 8th. 9th was Dominic Scelzi, his older brother. And rounding out the top 10 was Tim Kading out of San Jose, California. The California drivers doing quite well out there in the Midwest.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really sprint car crazy right now. I mean, a lot of local racing. So does that tend to like cool down a little bit when, like, I mean, school gets started again? I mean, is this kind of like the peak for sprint car racing?
Well, I feel like with dirt, Dave, there's really no off season. Whether that's fortunate or unfortunate. I think it's fortunate for race fans, maybe sometimes unfortunate for non-race fans.
Right.
It's always something going on. I mean, even in the middle of winter when you think nothing would be happening, you have the Chili Bowl.
Absolutely.
The biggest dirt race probably in the world right now.
Absolutely.
And when that's not happening, a lot of drivers go down to Australia and race, which is a whole nother animal in itself. They have some beautiful tracks down there with some great competition.
Wow, we'll talk about beautiful tracks. Of course, Xfinity is going to Ohio, the sports car club. And they were talking a little bit about how technical that track is and how tight that track is, that it's actually a little more of an IndyCar track. I think it's great watching the Xfinity cars on there. I just think that the Cup cars are just a little scared.
Yeah, I gotta kind of agree with you on that one. Rare that we agree on something. But one thing that I really miss is the Xfinity Series going up to Montreal. I thought that was such a fun race, and Mexico City too. Two tracks that they don't go to anymore.
The trucks, go up into up to Canada. I think that's a great looking track.
Yeah, and I do too. And it's so fun to watch them run so close to a wall on a road course, something you don't get to see very often. We're so used to the Watkins Glens and Sonomas. Maybe Watkins Glen a little bit more similar with the walls so close to the track. But with Sonoma and a lot of other road courses, you have so much runoff in the corners.
Yeah.
It's so neat to see something that you really have to be online.
So we did get a little taste with them racing in the rain. Xfinity's kind of in that part of the season where they're running some road courses. Talk about some guys that are going to be in the field in the Xfinity race that we don't see as regulars.
Yeah, so first of all, Spencer Gallagher, he's going to return to his family-owned team in the number 23 for GMS. And then we have Kyle Benjamin. He's going to be in the 18 car for Joe Gibbs Racing this weekend. Young driver looking for a big shot to potentially land himself into a Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series ride. But now some possibly road course ringers, perhaps.
Right.
Brendan Gong, he's going to be racing this weekend in the number 3 car for RCR. Then you have Justin Marks. Of course, he only runs the road courses every once in a while in NASCAR, but when he does, he's fast. Previous winner over there. He's going to be for Chip Ganassi Racing in the number 42. And then you have Andy Lally driving the number 90 car, a car that never would be up front in any other race except for this one. So very exciting to see those names coming on the entry list here as we move on to this weekend to Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, and I thought I saw a report that Christian Fittipaldi is actually going to retire at the end of this season. He's one of the ringers that comes into the series and runs there. But the greatest news, middle of the week though, is that Bill Elliott is going to,
How cool
come
is
out.
that?
Yeah.
I mean, Bill Elliott, I believe he's 62 years old now. Of course, father of Chase Elliott, who just got his first career NASCAR Cup Series win. Going to return to NASCAR. This is a Hall of Famer, Dave.
Right. Well, and we were talking before the show started, like, living or dead, was there certain drivers? Because I think, 62, he's super fit. I mean, we just talked about that earlier. I mean, he looks like he could go right now, and apparently he's ready. So I think that's really neat. I really wish, like say I could have seen Mark Donohue drive. Of course, did get to see Michael Schumacher. Now, granted, I'm never in that caliber. Ayrton Senna, passed away, and it's two of those drivers have passed away, and one we're not really quite sure what's going on with Schumacher. I mean, there's no reports, but from your dirt track perspective, who would be a couple of drivers who would be on that list for you?
I think a couple drivers for me personally. Steve Kinzer, huge name in World of Outlaws competition. That would be so cool to race with him. There's some other really big names. Doug Wolfgang, he would be so much fun to race with. And then maybe bringing it a little bit more to a local level. Any of the Unsers would be so cool to race with.
Well, and I did race go-karts with Robbie Unser. And I remember when Junior would show up to the track. So you're absolutely right. So I apologize to a sponsor of the show that I didn't mention that I wanted to race with him. But I think Al Sr. would go. I mean, he's been on this show before, and he's ready to go. But Christopher Bell, if we could have the points for Xfinity, Dana, if you put that up for us, thank you. And so that's our points. Christopher Bell, is that the?
This is the race results.
Okay.
Where we had Joey Logano picking up the win this weekend at Watkins Glen International. AJ Allmendinger running a one-off race for Gallagher Motorsports in the number 23. He finished second. Of course, here's a picture of Joey Logano in the rain. So cool to see them put the rain tires on and do well in that. Justin Allgaier, he picked up the third position. Fourth went to Ryan Preece. Eric Almirola, running the number 98 car, was fifth. Sixth went to Cole Custer, Brandon Jones, Ryan Reed, Christopher Bell, and Brad Keselowski, rounding out the top 10.
And so let's go ahead and get to the points as well. Christopher Bell is still your point leader. Justin Allgaier in second, and then Tyler Reddick in third. And those basically are your victories from the regulars. And there's Christopher Bell. And then, of course, Ryan Reed, Ross Chastain on the edge, Michael Annett, Ryan Sieg on the outside, looking in. But we got to talk some Cup. I mean, what a tremendous weekend, and of course Chase Elliott getting it done. But what a battle with Martin Truex. I mean, it was a very entertaining race because his battles to begin with Kyle Busch were tremendous. I mean, great piece of driving, gave up the lead, took it back, and then on that restart when Busch was just the class. So, I mean, if there would have been a restart or something, I don't know how that would have turned out, but it was a tremendous race.
Yeah, luckily for Chase Elliott, a restart like that did not happen.
Right.
And he was able to pick up his first career victory. Now let's take a look at the race results for the NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series.
And so we got, there you go, Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott, of course, coming away with his first career victory. Martin Truex Jr. second. Third went to Kyle Busch. Here's a picture of Chase Elliott in victory lane looking happy.
Yep.
Fourth was Daniel Suarez. Strong run for the JGR rookies. Fifth was Eric Jones. Of course, I say rookies. They aren't rookies anymore, but still young guns over there at JGR. Kyle Larson ran sixth. Seventh was Jamie McMurray. Strong run for Ganassi there. William Byron was 8th, Kurt Busch 9th, and Kevin Harvick, an unusual 10th place finish.
Absolutely. It's kind of to say he struggled. I mean, that's amazing. But you still got your big three that are leading the overall points. Kyle Busch with 6 victories, almost had 7. Kevin Harvick with 6 also. Martin Truex 4th, and I mean, he almost had a victory too. So you could have really been looking at a powerhouse. I mean, it's been a long time since you've seen those kind of victories. And then, of course, there you go. Kyle Busch is your point leader. 934 points to 874 for Kevin Harvick. So they've been getting, as a team, they've been getting it done across the board. On the cutoff, Jimmy Johnson, 15th. Alex Bowman, 16th. Bowman's actually having, a tremendous season. Ricky Stenhouse still right there. Paul Menard, Daniel Suarez inching up.
Yeah, this is going to be a tight battle as we move on into the last couple races of the regular season, Dave. It's going to be a good one to watch.
Yeah, and so if you haven't been watching NASCAR, you decided that, racing wasn't just for you, you've been missing a lot. But you can always tune in here. We're going to keep you posted. And, of course, you could listen to the radio show. Check out our website, nmmotorsportsreport.com. Of course, you could, like us on Facebook as well. But looking forward to getting a report on the concert next week.
Yeah, it should be a fun time out there, Dave. I'm really looking forward to it. Of course, flying out early tomorrow morning after I edit our Wheels Up Wednesday podcast, which is going to be episode 21 coming out tomorrow. So make sure you tune into that as well.
So you could also bring, samples to the show.
That's a great idea. I like that idea. Well, you've been watching the New Mexico Motorsports Report. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Alacrancito means a scorpion, like a little scorpion. My older brother was Alacran, which is just a regular scorpion, and he passed away a few years ago, so my dad decided to name me Alacrancito because my dad's from Durango, Mexico, and over there is a city of scorpions. So he kind of just named my older brother Alacran.